How are
Hi,
you?
I'm fine, and you?
I'm fine. I just couldn't admit you to my meeting room, but you're in.
Oh my God, it's
I,
keeping me out.
I
My
don't know.
word.
I did something wrong, and then I ended up in the corner of my screen. Anyway, you're
Oh,
here. How are you, Donna Mathews?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
Did you get all
Yeah.
dressed up just for me?
I especially put this, you noticed.
Oh, I
Especially
noticed. It's
minimal.
amazing.
I'm gonna wear it for you.
I love it.
It's okay.
Can you
How-
hear a whole lot of knocking behind the scenes?
what did you say?
Can you hear a whole lot of knocking and scraping? Oh, good.
I can't.
Okay.
What's Rory? What is he doing?
Doing some stuff I've been waiting for years to be done, so I'm not going to stop it now. Okay, Donna Mathews, let me ask you, because now that we're recording, let me ask you, for people who don't know you, I know a little bit about you. Who are you? What do you do?
Wow, that's like my worst. You know that. Firstly, I hate speaking about myself. Down to other stuff. Okay.
We'll get there.
Right. Hi. My name is Donna.
I'm Donna.
I'm
Yes.
Donna. I am 43 years old.
What?
Young. 43 years young. Yeah. I
Oh,
don't look it.
you don't.
I was like 35 and I'm
I
just.
did.
Oh, amazing. I've got my stuff together for a younger. No, you see, I am well, what I do for a living is I have a little advertising consultancy. It's not quite an agency, but I've been in the kind of advertising industry for about 22 years.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, so branding, strategy, advertising, brand, big agencies. I don't even know if you knew that.
I didn't.
Yeah. Worked
No.
in France. I was a global brand director for DDB in France. So that's kind of my background, and then moved
Oh,
back.
la la.
La la.
Oui.
Sorry. I knew that was going to happen. I've got a beeping on my alarm. Keep it real. We've got to keep it on my alarm system that just goes beep, 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 beep the whole time unless it's on.
Yeah.
So you're not going to hear like a beep, 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 beep. And if you hear it too much, then I'm going to lock myself in my bedroom and we're just going to have like...
No, we just go through, we just carry on with the beep, beep, beep.
Beep, beep, beep.
Yeah.
It's going to drive, like, if you notice it, it'll drive you crazy. If you don't notice it. But now I'm noticing it, so it'll drive me crazy.
It won't drive you crazy.
Okay, it won't.
Yeah.
It won't. It's slow torture, you know. So yeah, that's my background. Been back in South Africa for 10 years and started my own business. I've been consulting and working for ad agencies kind of for the last 10 years.
Oh.
So so that's my professional life, and then I am a mother of 2 lovely children.
Yes, they are.
Mila's 14 and Ilan is 10. And yeah, I'm a single mama, so I've been on my own with them for 10 years. And what else? I'm a worship leader.
Yeah, we're going to get there.
Musician, I don't know if I can, quite call myself that. I used to play violin. I used to play violin and viola. And then I was the leader of the violas in the Northern Transvaal Youth Orchestra.
Oh,
13 or 14, yeah. Very long ago.
But then you can still play.
You know what? I put it down at 16 because obviously at 16 I was horse riding and it was not cool to be playing the violin. I wanted to Green Day, Smashing Pumpkins and those kind of bands. It's like all the alternative stuff. So the violin was not cool. So I think until about the trick, I was 16. Yeah, instead of 9, I stopped because my mom up until then would, it was like either the horse, no violin, no horse riding. So I was like, okay, I will persevere and practice. The horse was everything, like my daughter, the horse was everything. And then in matric, I managed to kind of go, okay, too much schoolwork's going to be too tough and horse riding, and I just can't cope. I have to drop the violin. So that was kind of when I stopped. And I've picked it up, but it's not, so I'm just closing my emails. But it wasn't, I can't play very well anymore. I remember my one song from my last exam. That's all I can play, half of, and it's not squeaky, but no.
It's no good if you can only play half of something. I'm learning about you, and advertising, consultancies, violin. So do you speak French? You lived in France? Oui, oui.
Je devrais travailler en France, et donc oui, je parle assez bien, je pense.
Ok, oui, yeah, oh là là, oh. Je parle un petit peu français.
Mais oui, c'est super. No, I had to work so the French say they understand English. Not all of them, sorry, I love French people, but often, like, I worked in an ad agency, and I had my first meeting. It was the most embarrassing video conference of my life, with it was a big agency with 5 mini agencies all over France. And I had to kind of introduce a new project. And they were like, you can speak English, it's fine. And I started speaking, oh my word, and I had like 5 rooms of people with blank faces looking at me. And I was like, they don't understand me, like, between the English and the South African accent. Like,
I know.
But in the smaller, like, my creative director in Toulouse, I was in Toulouse, he didn't speak a word of English, not one. So I like had to get my boss to take up. I was like, they don't understand me, just speak in French, please. It was so bad. So I had to learn to be able to operate in work in French, which you know, when you have to do something, you
have to do it. I always wanted to speak French. I always want to speak languages, but when I was in primary school, I got hold of a whole lot of French. You know, you can still get them at the library. Teach yourself to speak, and it was French. And so I learned certain words, and I would read them, but without the pronunciation, because it was before the days where you could get these apps and these programs where you learn the pronunciation. So I knew the words, and then later on, I got a thing with pronunciation, and I'm telling you, I loved it. I think I can't speak French, but I loved, like, pretending I could. And then when Rory and myself went to Paris, and on a ministry trip in Paris, and I loved it. I felt like I was in heaven in this church where we were speaking English and they were interpreting in French, and they gave me a French Bible. And back then I said to God, I'm ready to die now. Like, this is my dream, to be surrounded by French people in Paris. So anyway, okay, let's get on to business now.
That's beautiful. That's just on the pronunciation thing. Just one last thing. When I was working for the ad agency in France, I was doing some trade show, and I had to email the people at the office. And I've never learned to write, so I haven't studied school. School, but because I'm musical, I picked it. I didn't know I had an aptitude for language when I was there. And I really
just pause that. You do know how to write. You mean you never learned how to write French?
French, yes.
Just to let everyone know.
No, I know how to write. I'm just to write in French.
Yes. Okay.
So I wrote an email to the creatives to debrief them on a job, and I got back to the office like on the Monday. I think it was like the first I wrote the email Monday, and they had printed my email and they'd stuck it on every level of the 5 floors of the agency because I wrote like I spoke. So I had this like a long word. I wrote like a secret. So it's like, anyway.
Oh God.
I don't write in French anymore, but at least now we've got Google Translate. We didn't have that. I know what I want to say.
Okay, your kids now. You say 11 and 13.
10 and 14, yeah.
Where did I get 11 and 13? 10 and 14. I know they're doing their schooling online and all that stuff now. Do you find it hard as a mom to keep them encouraged about the future, or how do they feel, and how do you do it?
So Mila is like, I think there's an aspect of the homeschooling that they're really enjoying. So Mila really loves it. She's super self-sufficient and she's extremely disciplined, which is great. So I don't really need to do much with the motivation. And then Ilan doesn't enjoy it so much. So that's it's the video calls. I think that they're finding it quite stressful. His age is finding it quite stressful.
Yeah.
And so that's taking a little bit of motivation. A lot of my kind of more of, okay, as long as if I'm with him or I'm working with him, then he's definitely fine. But it's taking a lot of, I think it's stamina that we need now, whereas in the beginning it was kind of getting used to it, got into it, and now I feel like that they're in a phase where, especially him, where he needs to push through a little bit, which is tough, but you can motivate them with, like, bit of dangle.
You're not allowed to have down days. You just have to keep them going.
Totally. But I mean, we're generally quite happy, so we're very tight knit. Like the three of us are very tight knit, and they also, when he was born, they didn't get along, but because Mila was 4 and the brother was like, and she used to block his face out of photos.
Oh, really?
The hand of his face. But now, it's really funny. But God, that changes. Like this, I wouldn't have believed it like a couple of years ago. I was very like distraught because all I wanted was, I'm an only child, was to give my daughter.
Oh, who's that? Oh man.
So all I wanted was, obviously, as an only child, to give my child a sibling. She was. But now they get along so well, and it's so lovely. They like playing Minecraft together. And,
good.
Egg wars. I don't know what it is, but they do egg wars and they're playing and things together. So
no more blocking faces.
No.
That's the funniest thing I've heard. Now tell me, I know you hear from God. You've got a prophetic edge to you because you're involved in worship. So now tell me and people who are going to be watching you, how does God speak to you? How do you know that it's God speaking to you?
That's a good question. I mean, I hope it's God.
Okay, we all say that.
I don't know. It's like a sense. It's like I'll get something on my heart, or I'll get something like it's a knowing, and I can't explain it. It's like there's an understanding, I guess, for me, and that's how it happens. I think it happens differently for other people. So I'll either get something on my heart to do, if it's like with the blessing song, which was like, you need to do this kind of, or I will have a sense or a knowing of how things are going to be or what's to come, or kind of like not a prediction. I don't know. It's not like that, but it's like, okay, things are going to change. It'll be a new season. Like those kind of things I've been knowing for a while. It's like things he places on my heart, but it's in different ways. And obviously in worship, it's different. It's when you feel the Holy Spirit presence on you. That's a complete. You're in a complete flow in that moment, and I think that's just. That just kind of happens.
So it's like,
I don't know how to explain. Yeah, it's like.
So would you say you hear God? Is it easier for you to hear God when you're worshiping?
Yeah, possibly. Well, it's possibly easier to experience Him, because I think in that, worship is an experience. So in that moment, it's that kind of throne room experience where you're right in the throne room with Him. Yeah. But I mean, I think He's talking all the time. I think we're probably more in worship. We're attentive, and we're in that focused space and a dedicated space. It's corporate worship. Everyone's there with the same intention and flow. So, but I mean, even it happens in different ways. At the women's conference at the beginning of the year, at our women's weekend. Yeah. When Ron and Matthew were leading worship, And it was like maybe 4 minutes into the first song, and you just felt Jesus walk into the room, you know, you just like you felt him walk into the room and everything changed, you know. So I think it's just the awareness. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it.
I know exactly. I know what you're saying, and I know other people can relate. It's like you can't put into words. It's an impression almost. But it's like tangible. So I know what you're saying. Now, do you feel God is saying something to you for now?
Yeah, I mean, at the moment, it's very. I think there's a stream of things that are going on at the moment, and there's obviously with lockdown and everything that's kind of happening. There's this one stream of the lie or people feeling insignificant.
Yeah.
There's a lie of insignificance. I think when we are not being productive, that we can feel, you know, productive.
Yeah.
Because we're being busy. You know, life has been set up in such a way that busyness equals productivity, which equals good, which is not true, obviously, in the kingdom, in the way the world's set up. So I think that there's that. What for me has been my experience in the last kind of couple of months is that if there's something that God puts on your heart and it seems small and insignificant and you feel like, what can I even do from my home? Like I'm just a person, and what difference does it even make?
Yeah.
Like that's what he's speaking, like what he can do. And it's just that with, you know, that what he could do with, you know, David's little sling, but with God, he can slay giants. And, you know, the boy who 5 loaves and the 2 fish, there's not much, we feel like there's not much in our hands, but there's this significance of when we're obedient to God, or we do offer what we have to him, that he can do exceedingly and abundantly beyond what we could ever dream or ask or think. And I think that's what's coming out of this kind of season for me. And the other thing is that just there is a complete new way of doing things. You know, I think if you look at the way the world was set up, you know, I'm just looking at little things like planting herb gardens and doing things like God created such a beautiful natural world, and we've become so separated from Eden. We've become so dependent on, we have to go to the shops to buy our food. We've been in the system of dependence on money, and, you know, it's just this, it's a fake dependence. Of course we need money to live. I'm not saying that money is bad, but if you just think of the gifts God has given us, and I've grown lettuce from lettuce. I was like, are you kidding me? Like, I've chopped off lettuce at the bottom and put it in water, and it took me one Google video, and I was like, but why
didn't know that.
Yeah, you take the bottom of the lettuce. If it's a whole lettuce, you just chop the tops off. And you leave about that much, and you put it in water, and then you wait for it to root, and you'll see it'll grow new lettuce. You just put it in water and it grows. It's amazing.
Obviously you have to take it and put it in soil.
Take it in water first. So you just literally put it in water, and you change the water every 2 days. And then once it's after 15 days, you should be able to plant it in soil. Look, I've just transferred mine to soil now. They're not, I'm still testing the whole process, but it's most incredible, like, so incredible, you know, like the way God, we actually don't, you know, we don't need much. He's given us seeds from the fruit, grow more food. So his provision is, so we need to, you know, there's a way of going back to a godly way of being that we've lost. It feels extremely new, but it's not new. It's new, but it's not new in the kingdom, because it's
been there all the time.
Full circle back to kind of how it's meant to be. And then only comes through a bit of pressure and innovation, you know, innovation, even if it's going back to a natural way of being, sometimes takes a squeeze, you know, and I think we're all under a bit of pressure to create a new normal, which can be scary and exciting at the same time. So
it is exciting. But I'm amazed that you can grow your own lettuce. So anyway,
and carrots as well. You cut the carrot, but it doesn't grow carrots. It just grows the tops. So the greens of the carrot grow, and then that'll make seeds, and then you can plant those seeds. But if you want to feed, I've got bunnies, so they eat a lot of kale. expensive. So I'm trying to grow the tops of the carrots, so hopefully they'll eat that. So,
Okay.
like,
They should eat carrot tops, I think.
carrots, but I mean, they should definitely eat the carrot tops.
Yeah,
And you can't buy carrots with carrot tops. There's still
yeah.
carrots without carrot tops.
Oh.
So growing carrot tops.
I'll remember that next time I get a lettuce, that I can actually take it, put it in water, and it's going to grow.
Yep.
Okay. Now you see how little I know about vegetable gardening when I say, but you have to put it in soil. For a second, I thought, oh, it'll be great if you just put it in water and it sprouts a lettuce.
Does actually, it just keeps growing in water. Like it actually does. It's amazing. Like I was blown away. I was like, oh my gosh, it's working even after they were in the fridge. So there's a lot of beauty. Yeah, it's incredible. I'm just blown away by God.
Yeah. Now here's a question for you. I made a couple of notes out of what you said there about the lie, that there's a lie that we're insignificant because there's no busyness, so we can't measure our productivity. So we feel insignificant because of that. And also when you give God what you think is a little bit, he does over and above. Now, here's the question. Tell us about the blessing video. How did it start? Was it scary for you because God showed you something, but you had to actually do it?
Yeah, I think it wasn't scary. God gave me this idea. It was really just on my heart. It was like, you need to do the blessing for South Africa. And when he put it on my heart was before any of the other compilations had come out. So it was really like just after the song came out. So obviously he gave people all around the world similar, everyone's gotten similar ideas, the countries, which is so interesting. It's obviously God's heart at this time. And then I reached out to you and I sort of kind of was like, how is this even going to work? Who's going to be in it? Whatever. And then I reached out to people and a few people said yes. So it was almost like organic process. I didn't think of like where it's going to go. Just started as going, okay, well, maybe let's try. And then some people said yes, and then I was like, oh my gosh, I need an editor. Like, I'm not a video editor. So I messaged Nick Lear from Manenberg Films, who I do a lot of commercial work with, but they are, I don't know if you know Nick and them, but they're part of Manenberg, they're part of Peak Portal and them, or they lived in Manenberg with the outreach, and they have a film school and a photography school off their business in community. So he's got a beautiful, story in his company alone. So just to like God, if he said yes, he'll do it for free. I mean, I don't think either of us knew how much time it was going to take. We sat for like a week and a half. We were doing 6-hour days. Like we were just, I got all the videos in and I was time stamping like who sings what amen at what line and what harmony and putting everything together and then sending it to him. He'd send the edit back to me. So it just became this, it was amazing. And then he knew, so just like God will provide, like that's the thing, like God will give you an idea, but he'll also resource you. He's never going to give you an idea and not resource you. And he's got a vision. So you can try to kind of test out how it's going to work. Some people said yes, some people didn't send videos, some people said no. It was just whoever was meant to be in it was, he just needed people's yeses. He needed my yes, and he needed Nick's yes. And then Nick was like, oh, but I know this amazing sound engineer, Graham Duffin, who actually has done like Wet, Wet, Wet. And he won in the UK, he'd won a Grammy for I think Love Actually or something, one of the songs on the track. Okay. Yeah. So it just like, he said yes. And I think in the end, it was just such an amazing, as I was working on it, and I asked a friend of mine to translate it to Xhosa, because that was right in the beginning. It was like, it has to be translated into Xhosa. No other languages, it was English and Xhosa. And I was also faithful with that, because everyone was like, oh, maybe Afrikaans, or maybe, no, it wasn't. It's not that I don't want other languages. It was just those were the languages that I felt God wanted. And then just to go through the process. And as I started getting the videos in, I would weep. It was just like this Holy Spirit-filled weeping of how beautiful people are and what they have and what they carry. And there was this, it was so spirit-filled the whole way that I knew God was kind of onto something. But halfway through I lost steam. I was like, we're like, okay, we need some more people. And I was like, okay, I don't know. Is this going to be nothing? Is it going to, like, 3 people are going to see it and it's going to just, that was what my fear was. Like, not fear, but then I was like, should I not just, because I was like, what am I going to do? but then a friend of mine had a video of a young guy called Justin Zulu from Live Village, and he just done an internship with Tim Hughes. So he sent me this video, and I was like, okay, cool. Let me speak to Chester, who's the CEO of the village and who's Justin's house father. And when I phoned him and I told him about the idea, he was just like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And it's so incredible how that encouraged. It was like I went like, and he was like, oh, why hasn't anybody else done it? And I thought, oh my gosh, God gave me this to do. Like, you know, there was this reverence of going, wow, like, oh my gosh, thank you, God. You honored, like, it was such an honor for me to carry this purpose. And I was just like, wow, okay, so I need to honor this project. And that was quite a revelation for me, I think, in the middle. So, and that was my second wind. And then, you know, the rest happened. Can you hear the beeping? Because if you can hear it, okay, you can't. So shall I keep talking through it, or like, do you want to ask them a question? Okay, because I can talk.
Keep talking.
Anyway, and then I guess when we launched, it was the next kind of wave of just miraculous, because first now we've got this great product, and yay, we were just so excited about it. But like, okay, so now I've created a Facebook page, and I've got a friend of mine, Ryan Buerter. They've got a Love Supreme brand. They do that like beautiful illustrations, and him and I work together a lot. So I was like, also believer, also worship leader. He's also in the video, and I thought, well, you do a little logo for us. So got a logo done, did a Facebook page, Instagram. It's like, okay, we'll just, you know, no followers. It's like, okay, let's just release this. And
am I following the blessing?
I hope so.
Okay, I'll have to go check that, because I'm going to tag it.
Yeah. It's anyway. And so it was 5:30 on the Thursday, the 31st. How many days are there?
I don't know.
April. I don't even know what it was. It was the end of April.
30th
and the last
April.
The last day of April. January, February, March, April. 30th.
Yeah. I do the same.
30th of April, and we released it at 5:15. And it was literally myself and Nick. We were the admin on the page, and I'd invited a few people who were in it, and I sent the link out to everybody that was obviously there were 22 people who were part of it. And all of a sudden it started getting views, and we were just like, what? And I had Tam and I were on the phone. Like, she was like, she kept WhatsApping me. She's like, 100 views. And we were just like,
why she does that, eh?
And we were just freaking, and next thing it was like 1,000 views, and I was like, what is happening? Like, that was about 8 o'clock, and I was like, okay, I'm finished. I don't even know what's going on right now. The next thing, by the time I went to, and I still said to Mila and to my mama, like, I wonder tomorrow, maybe we'll be on 3,000 tomorrow. And Mila was like, maybe 5,000. And when I went to bed at 10:30, it was on 5,700. And I was like, wow, that's like, and my immediate thought was like, amazing how God's word travels faster than any virus, because it's obviously like, you know, how many people were sick in South Africa? It was 3,000, and I was like, okay, but 5,000 people have seen this in 4 hours. You know? And that was just, I was just amazed. So it went completely viral, and then it keeps ticking over. Like, we had 200,000 views within 5 days, which is phenomenal to think, because it was people who were sharing it, and in advertising I could boost the posts, which I didn't do until yesterday, but I just felt God going, I want to show you what I can do with this, you know? And he just took it. And then from yesterday, I kind of felt like, because Facebook also will hide posts, they obviously want you to, because my mom still hasn't seen it.
Are you serious?
No, she's seen it, but it hasn't gone on her Facebook. She's my mom, and we like always on Facebook together. She has not seen my post of me sharing the blessing on her Facebook.
Sure.
It's completely hidden. So it shows you some posts will just, So from yesterday, I've boosted it, and it's also been going into community a lot more. So I've seen it's going, you know, there's a lot more activity. It's like a whole new wave. So those will be connections of connections, but now other people see it. So there's this beautiful new wave. Yeah, and then Elevation obviously picked it up, and they featured it on Sunday. They did a compilation all over the world, and they featured our one was first, which was so awesome. With just with the clip of Justin Zulu, who was the guy from Live Village, opened with him. So it starts with him. It's amazing.
I know.
Yeah.
But I mean, that song, I saw Elevation when they released it, Elevation Music, and I loved it because the words of that song, I mean, I think it was just before lockdown or something, the words of that song, like, it meant so much to me. I love that scripture, Numbers chapter 6. And just to be able to sing those words for people like me who only sing when I'm lying in the bath or when there's no one around, and to be able to sing those words or speak those words over our families, and then when they go, your children and their children, and there's so much power in it. But to come from South Africa, it's like we need to own it. It's ours,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, exactly. So we just it's a beautiful, it's such a beautiful it's a beautiful testimony.
No, I'm going to tag it. I'm going to tag the Instagram page and you on Facebook, so people can find it if they haven't seen it, because it's got to get out there.
It needs to keep going. Yeah.
But now, what's next?
I don't know. I'm just kind of like, what is? Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm like, people are asking for more songs. A lot of churches there's a lot of churches that are reaching out from all over the world, asking to share it on Sunday services.
Yeah.
Trace TV, Gospel TV have, if they can add it to. So now I'm going, okay, well, it's at the moment it's a cover song of Elevation. Obviously wrote it, so they own the rights and the licensing. So as a cover song, I haven't gone through the licensing whole process, which I know nothing about. I know about TV commercials, and I know nothing about music licensing, so I'm learning.
Yeah.
So I need to speak to them to see where it can go from here.
Yeah.
Because there's obviously a next step that it feels like, a broadcast step, which is interesting. So I don't know, I'm literally like, okay, God, what next? And I feel like there's also something very beautiful with our obedience if we do something, because this was an absolute labor of love. I mean, our work projects literally all dried up, and I got put on hold, and so I had space, and I could have panicked, but I was like, okay, this is space for me to do God's work. There was an obedience in that. And like God there'll always be good fruit that comes from, it wasn't it's never for the fruit. Yeah. For the other fruit, but I mean, for our own personal, it's not for our own personal gain, but God will never ever, nothing returns void with him. So, so there's exciting potential things, who knows, in the pipeline.
Well, I know, I can say this to you, I know this without a shadow of a doubt, without giving too much away, that you've got big visions for worship at that time. Like, I know a little bit of it maybe. And so I think that this is just God showing you that if you take one step and you're obedient to do this, and you see what happens with this, that the rest is just small fry for God.
Wow, absolutely. And I mean, there is the stadium visions, and there's the gatherings, but at the moment of it's,
I know.
Who knows?
We need those now.
But they might start small, and I think for me that the only next vision, the next vision God has given me is when we can gather in a small community, is to get everybody who was in the blessing together to sing it live. And to worship, so small kind of worship night, like almost like what United Pursuit, when they stand and everyone's in the circle. So that's a next step. And then, small gatherings can grow into big gatherings. And, the Facebook page is growing, and the Instagram, it's growing. So it might become a platform to release new songs, or it could be a platform to invite people to the events, or whatever. It's God is busy, obviously, so we'll keep watching him, you know, seeing what he's doing.
This could be part of your new thing. You never know.
Yeah, I do feel there's definitely a shift for me. I think to work on a music project, I have never been in my element as much. I've edited TV commercials, you know, I sit with editors. I don't edit myself, but I work as the creative director and I put things together and nothing. And I enjoy I love my job, but this was a whole new level. And I didn't realize, because like every line, every verse, who sings where, I kind of stitched together, but and every voice and so there was a musicality. Well, I know I'm musical, but there was an aspect of my musicality that I didn't know I had in my creativity. And I think that was wow for me. I was like, oh my gosh, God, I didn't even know this was in me. This is awesome. So who knows what's more there is with that.
Well, I'm glad to hear you say that, because I've been saying, and like I hear myself say it, and I think, where does this come from? That in this time, God is calling out purpose and destiny of people, calling it out of us. And that's just a little taste.
No, absolutely. I mean, absolutely. And I think the project also, every person that was in it had their own backstory. Like my friend who played the violin, Barbara Marie, she's been praying, you know, God is answering prayers through us when we're obedient as well. And that's the other big thing. She's been praying for God to use her with her violin specifically. And her and I used to play violin together when we were 12 in the orchestra in Pretoria. Oh, amazing. So I was like, I contacted her already earlier, just in the year, to do another women's event for us, where we needed a violinist. So we reconnected around worship, and that was her prayer this year. God, use me, not use me. And she sings as well. It was to be used with her violin, and that's all I asked. I was like, "Will the violin for the track?" And Chester at Live Village had been praying to God for a way that Justin and Muzi, who started the video, those were both his house sons. So Justin came to him. I mean, it's as an orphan, as a foster child at the age of 8. And he's his house son, so he's now 19. And he's been praying for a way for their gifts to be used in a worship capacity. And next thing, like Justin's in the video, and next thing, Justin is the only part of our video that's on the big screen in Elevation Church on Sunday. And I thought, wow, like God has just answered a prayer through a connection that I was connected to, a friend of mine who'd been to Live Village in December, who was connected to them, you know, so there's this, or January. So there's this amazing, you know, I read once I think it was She Reads Truth or somewhere, where she said, like, you know, we just see like God is making this beautiful tapestry.
I was going to say, I'm waiting to say, throw that word in. It's like a tapestry.
And at the bottom, you know, all we see, it's like you look up and all you see is the strings, but he's connecting, you know, he's connecting me to that experience, to that. You don't really see what he's doing, but at the top, you know, when it comes together, he gets this vision of the beautiful finished work, you know? And I think, it's amazing when we look back at how in the detail he is, like connecting me to a friend at 12 who, you know, like it just, who now 30 years later, literally, you know, is like, God is incredible. You just, it's just goosebumps.
It's like God sees the big picture out there, and then if we recognize significance in someone else, even though they don't look like us or they don't behave the way we do, but we see something in them, and God actually has a plan to connect us with these people, and then it all works out.
Absolutely. And like say, calling out that gifting in everyone.
So you didn't get my video that I sent you of me singing, because I was very disappointed that I never appeared in your video. I'm joking. I'm joking. I went into the spam folder. We are going to have to say goodbye, because Zoom is going to. Well, let's say goodbye to everybody else, and then before Zoom just switches me off, we'll say goodbye to everybody who's watching, and you stay there.
Okay.
Thanks, Donna.
My pleasure.
I'm going to tag you in everything for everybody listening to us and watching us, so you can find Donna for everything about her life.